Alright, we'll be back here. Tournament life on the line here for AXIZ Gaming. We load into picks and bans once more. Starting things off very much the same. V3 Esports know the things they want to take off the table. And as it seems, AXIZ know it as well. These first 4 bans, a bit of a repeat. Will V3 go put themselves at 3 for 3 of the same 3 bans in this series so far, and it looks like they will. And understandably so, Aphelios, being one of those meta mainstays since his release, V3 Esports not wanting to give that one over at any point. Now, AXIZ, well, this last ban has been the one that they've kind of switched around a bit. We did see the TK ban in the last one, and they can opt into that again to take away that fasting Senna favorite. But V3 Esports now are throwing down the gauntlet, grabbing up that Callista right away, saying, alright, you've had your turn. We'll go ahead and take this one for a spin, as AXIZ now need to look for their pick. Looking at the Misfortune would be a great pickup early, as Misfortune can kind of stand toe-to-toe with the Callista in lane. And it looks like AXIZ will draft both ends of it, but a bit interesting to pick up the Thresh right away, as you are passing Set right back over to V3 Esports. AXIZ possibly not comfortable with the Set pickup, but they will pass it back over, and Paz will, I'm sure, be quite content to grab that one up again. Bit of an interesting pick there, as dedicating immediately to giving Hiding Corporal their picks on this bot lane. But V3 Esports now has kind of their pick of the litter, as they can also take their first jungle pick. Looks like it will be Rek'Sai that they're locking in. If AXIZ would like, they can draft up a Jarvan for their jungle position, or draft a top laner into this set. But AXIZ kind of has to make a decision that one of these two is going to get pinched off, and while in response you can pinch away at the support pool. Not a great look, but it looks like Hoglet looking to play the inverse of the matchup, locking himself, or Garaidu locking him in the Lee Sin. AXIZ has their next round of bans. Both mid laners this round. In that second half of the draft, AXIZ will be taking the counter pick. Zoe actually going to hit the ban table this time. Zoe went unpicked and unbanned in the last 2, not exactly fitting either way. A bit surprising that AXIZ haven't opted into the Zoe yet, but also passing over the set possibly shows some signs of AXIZ not being the most comfortable on those picks, or possibly believing they're a little bit susceptible, as they ban away the Rumble from AXIZ in the mid lane. Not going to have the equalizer option available there. V3 their last ban towards the Cassiopeia, so taking away a scaling mid laner. Both mid laners that hadn't received the most amount of priority, but Hyde locking in the Orianna for his mid laner. So they show the mid lane early here. They hold off on the top laner, which a bit interesting, as it's not a very large chance, but the Aatrox lock-in, possibly looking at a mid-lane Aatrox this game as an answer to the Orianna is a bit interesting, and Taric as well will be locked away. One of the great pairings alongside the Callista. V3 Esports is kind of walking... I stand corrected. It's the last minute swap over to the Echo. Means that we might be seeing the set support alongside the Callista. I do believe we had seen this in other regions, but the last minute swap over to the Echo for this mid lane. V3 Esports are kind of looking to walk a mile in AXIZ's shoes, as they're the ones who now have this all-inning kind of comp where they were willing to fight this one out. AXIZ Gaming locking themselves in the Camille for the top lane. One of a fairly popular matchup on the top side, kind of can go both ways, but it's one of those sort of skill expressive matchups that a lot of top laners really enjoy. Typically between that or the Akali are the common answers into the Aatrox, but Camille a little bit better into the both of them depending on which way V3 decided to swing it, but it will be the set in the support lane. And now it kind of feels like AXIZ is switching gears here, and maybe that is what they're missing, or that is what they can look for to shake things up for the side of V3 Esports. You can now see not exactly as potent of an early comp, but one that scales very well, has very high team fighting potential. So the options are the option to just kind of change pace for AXIZ Gaming. We'll see how it plays off. And in their absence of this early aggressive style, it looks like V3 Esports are the ones who are going to take up that mantle. And the only one not exactly geared towards an early game is, of course, this Echo, but does offer a very potent dive threat onto this Misfortune and Orianna. Taking away an AD carry in this fight could be huge for the side of AXIZ Gaming.
LJL 2020スプリングスプリットプレーオフラウンド1マッチ1ゲーム3 V3 スポーツ vs アクシズスタートです。さあまずはその序盤のジャングル同士の当たり合いというところがキーになってくるというこの試合ですが、視界を入りにいて取りに行くというような動きは両チーム見せません。全体で散らばってジャングルのスタート位置を予測されないようにというスタートになってますね。
As we load in here, taking a look, we do actually see on this one traditional runes all around the map here. Nothing too out of the ordinary, although arguably out of the ordinary is, of course, Reyna on the support set. Somewhat of a newer development with Callista kind of rearing her head into the meta. The interesting one is actually Garaidu on the phase rush, while also taking heal instead of barrier. Offers a bit of extra movement options, you know, can move around a little bit easier, but will remove a bit of her poke potential on the early game without having that summon Aerie, as well as not having the shield option available, but we'll see how Garaidu ends up playing this lane out. Jungler starting same end of the map here. And it looks like Hoglet will be going buff to buff here. He might be pinging his path out as Reyna going to find an E here onto Corporal. Big chunk of damage onto him as Hyde looking for a little extra onto Archer. Corporal and Archer kind of trading half HPs here. Reyna using a health bot just to keep himself healthy in this bot lane. Great Q. Ricochet coming out from behind there will sort of remind Archer to back away from the wave until he also reaches that level 2. You can actually see Archer opting for the Doran's shield here, recognizing that Hiding Corporal can kind of play a little bit more aggressively than even Callista can deal with. The love taps for the poke can add up very quickly on the early damage. Well, Ace does his best to clear out the lanes, throwing Qs at it, and it looks like Boogie is going to be the first one into this bot lane. Hoglet is around, but he is not close enough as Corporal. Going to get engaged on here. Boogie showing up will mean he has to leave his bot lane to die. And an early first blood from the side of V3 Esports. Somewhat of just a tried and true style of play. You know, you have an early game, you have this early bot lane damage, you have an early aggressive jungler, send him down to the bot lane. V3 actually hitting level 3 first there. And that's pretty much all she wrote on that one. Archer picking himself up first blood is not a great look for AXIZ Gaming, but starting up an early ball, something AXIZ are familiar with, so they might be able to play this one out. Chasing down with those autos, gets the empowered autos from the Clockwork passive. Will force ACE to back off there, but he does have teleport, so we'll be able to get back to that lane in time. Godaidu not so lucky in that department. We'll take a back here, pick up boots in the second Doran's ring. Meanwhile, in this top side, matchup feels fairly even for now. One of those matchups that can get out of hand very quickly if either side is not careful or ends up botching a fight here. Unyan on Camille has kind of very reliable engage, or at least ability to start fights, especially with that Hextech ultimatum. But if the Aatrox is able to come out ahead on a lot of this, very hard to brawl into an Aatrox, but looks like Boogie is hoping to make that one a reality. The lane gank coming through, but was spotted out on a ward. Speaking of lane ganks, Hoglet looking for one of his own. Hovering around the bot side here. The lane is pushing in, and he has a great position. The pink ward not able to spawn him in the alcove. Archer and Reyna walk up, put a ward down. Hoglet is looking for something here. The minion wave's coming. Needs to throw a sonic wave soon. The death sentence not going to find anything, but Archer is in prime position. Hoglet not ready to throw the punch yet. Sonic wave being held still. Hoglet's going to be forced to flash away here, going very, very low. As Archer forced to flash away in return. The teleport comes in. Paz is flashing forward. He is ready to take that kill, as now Corporal might be the target. Ace going to be backed away here in the end. Unyan picking up that kill. Hyde flashing over the wall, but there is an Aatrox ready to meet him. Narrowly missing a few of those Qs as Hyde runs to safety. Not who he thought he would find as he flashes over the wall there, but overall a 1-for-1 as a bit of a party comes through on the bottom end of this map here. Hoglet kind of playing that one out very interestingly is all I would have to say about that. Kind of holds his Sonic Wave for a long time, afraid that Archer would sidestep it with the dash off the auto attacks from Callista. But in the time he spins holding that Q, he doesn't get the damage from it. And Archer is able to escape that one without any deaths there, and it overall goes 1-for-1. Watch this one more time. Hoglet takes his time here and has multiple times where he is barrel stuffing a Sonic Wave, but holds it and then tries to snipe Archer with it in the end. As Hyde is run up towards the top side, he knows he doesn't really have anywhere safe to be. He flashes over the wall, and Paz tries to chase him down, but overshoots the Q a little bit, and Hyde is able to get out of that one. This is kind of an interesting scenario where V3 are slowly finding themselves in the lead here. Tremor Sense actually going to come up huge here as Pink Ward over the wall will spot Boogie out, prevent any more ganks, but this bot lane attention from V3 Esports is coming in strong, and now Archer might be first to level 6 here. But it looks like they'll just use their priority to push onto this Drake for now, as Unyan might be in trouble here. Does not have a whole lot of options to run away from Paz here. I believe he autoed a minion in there, and that is not what you want to see. A solo kill over to Paz. AXIZ might be sort of falling apart here across the map. Unyan not getting the better end of that one, as Paz is going to be 2-0 now. A solo kill for Paz, and on the bottom end of the map, losing that Ocean Drake. Ocean Drake will mean the most to Ace, though, however, having to deal with a lot of the Orianna poke in that sort of melee ranged matchup. Good hook from Corporal, finds his way on Arena, but nothing that they can engage on entirely. Hoglet going to start up this Rift Herald here, try to get something back out of all this, but if past indicators are one to show, once V3 has a lead, they're hard pressed to have it stolen from them. Early on, 1,000 gold difference. You can see Boogie hovering towards his bottom side as the shockwave comes through, going to get a little bit of auto attacks. Ace still has the ultimate available to get out of that one, but Boogie's presence will allow him to walk out to safety and hold on to his ultimate. As Hoglet spawns up the Rift Herald here, they will be able to cash in on a couple turret plates and force Ace to take the safe way back around the lane here. Unyan wandering down here just in case anything happens. Wants to be ready for a fight when it does. You could see V3 Esports was having their bot lane rotate up as well. They were prepared for action, but just looks like AXIZ will cash in on a few turret plates and nothing more. And right now, I do believe that Boogie was spotted here, but the dive is going through. I believe that is the ultimate from the Rek'Sai used, and this is not exactly the start you want to see from V3 Esports, or excuse me, from AXIZ Gaming. V3, on the other hand, seem to have found their confidence in this one. A beautifully executed dive. Utilizing the Kalista ultimate, you can have set grab aggro first, pull him away, and then utilize Rek'Sai with the ultimate to dodge out on the aggro as well, just taking this bot lane out under turret, summoners or no. AXIZ stood no chance on that bot lane, and this one is off to a rocky start for the side of V3 Esports. Or for AXIZ Gaming. My mind is hopefully AXIZ Gaming is holding up a bit better in the mental department than I am, as I believe Boogie just accidentally took the blue buff from his mid laner. I believe Talisman Burn came through on that one, and Ace was not able to secure that. Although that seems like something that's easy to shrug off on the side of V3. So you have a 20 CS lead in both bot and top lane to help account for the mid lane disadvantage, and Boogie might be thinking about another dive opportunity here. Finding a Q onto Unyan. Boogie looking for something here when the next wave comes in. Unyan puts up the pink ward to spot him out, but Boogie's already in position. Looks like he will back away. In the end, not going to opt in for a dive is the full HP Camille, as well as having the Hextech ultimatum for that intargetability. It's just a bit much to try and dive onto a Camille, but AXIZ Gaming pushing onto this mid lane here will grab themselves up a turret plate. Those last two are going to be hard to knock down, so they will make the call to back away from that one. Wandering around here in this dragon area, you can see Corporal using that sweeper, trying to get any amount of vision control on this Mountain Drake, while Boogie is on the top side. Lands a Q, going to use the Void Rush to get onto Unyan. Does not have knockup available just yet. The Hextech ultimatum used, as Unyan's going to hook shot out of that one. Backing him away completely from the turret. Mountain Drake is still 30 seconds away from spawning, so AXIZ can't exactly trade anything up, as Hoglet will look to respond, and Boogie will take a reset before he moves himself over to the Dragon Pit. Unyan using teleport up towards that top side will mean he won't have it available for this dragon if he wants to try and teleport down there. And this is not unworkable from the side of AXIZ Gaming, as this is sort of an early game you expect to start losing, but V3 Esports have been proven tough to try and take a lead back from. AXIZ Gaming will have their work cut out for them in this one. So they'll grab themselves up the mountain Drake, securing their second Drake of this game, as we'll see what soul ends up on the menu for them. Infernal Soul returning to the Rift once more. We'll see if V3 Esports is able to make any better use of it than AXIZ was. If AXIZ even gives them the opportunity. Of course, by the time Soul starts coming in, if Hyde is able to start getting a few of his items up together and they're able to find team fights with that Orianna ultimate, possibly can look for a way to battle back. But Boogie is going to actually find Garaidu in rotation, both summoners and ultimate used just to get away from that one. A great find from Boogie. He's going to burn 3 cooldowns from Orianna there. And that kind of felt like the rich get richer in that regard. They backed away the bot lane and jungle from this turret so that Archer is able to grab up that gold, but also finding flash, heal, and shockwave from Orianna will mean that now, if V3 does decide to look for this Rift Herald, that's one of those team fight ultimates that they have in their repertoire. Not going to be available for this fight, as you can see Boogie already wandering down here, thinking about taking that Rift Scuttler, but AXIZ is here in force first. Grabbing that undeniable vision will help. They want to mount a defense of this Rift Herald, but mid lane priority comes first. V3 Esports disagreeing, however, starting up this Rift Herald here as Archer looking to just stack up some spears into that one. Boogie smiting, flashing forward onto Union, but the Blast Cone is here. We'll be able to get out of that one as Paz utilizes the ultimate as well. Not going to find anything just yet, but ease back over the wall so they can return attention to this Rift Herald. Archer has been undeterred for now, but the stun comes through. That's going to find Corporal dead. Shockwave going to miss as they flash past it. Garaidu is going to be next on the menu as Ace is going to try and get himself out of that one. Ultimate use as a Hextech ultimatum comes through, but Hoglet is undeterred. Reyna might be going down as AXIZ Hoglet not going to follow through on that Shockwave. Knows there's no getting out of that one. And a clean fight from V3 Esports. They find 2 or 3 in that fight in total, as well as a Rift Herald, and now a 4K gold lead. If you know me, you know I like to not say anything's over until it's over. But V3 Esports are seemingly taking a very dominant position in this fight. And even here, where V3 Esports kind of have a little bit of disconnect in where they're going on this fight, you can see where it all kind of comes together in that even if one member is not there, they have the ability to recognize all-inning the weakest member is not bad. Right there, you did see Reyna out of the Kalista ultimate was just CC, really. Wasn't even dedicated towards a target that the rest of V3 was looking at. But at that point, it hardly even matters. They already had the fight won. They were just able to chase down Garaidu off towards the top side, and when the Shockwave is completely whiffing in that fight, AXIZ has team fight loss. There's no real opportunity for Hyde to look for a great bullet time, no good shockwaves, nothing that Union can do with the Hextech ultimatum to try and section off parts of the fight, as Reyna going to get locked up with Corporal here for a bit, but that's going to be V3 grabbing them, while meanwhile Paz and Ace are having fun on the top end of the map. 2v4, they seem to be fighting it out, and the Union is going to find himself losing a 2v4, his team having nothing really to protect him, as they're going to knock down this mid lane turret. V3 Esports are making quick work of this one, showing AXIZ exactly how it's done, knocking 2 turrets down with Shelly as Paz is onto this bot lane. And it looks like members of V3 Esports might be rotating down, but it looks like the Dragon is actually going to be their focus, putting themselves up to Soul Point. 6K gold lead accrued by V3 Esports. AXIZ receiving a taste of their own medicine, and maybe even a bit more than that, as V3 Esports kind of seem to be flexing a bit on AXIZ. They say we can play these mid-game carries, we can play towards a scaling comp, and we can play the style you love. AXIZ Gaming are going to have to battle back from this one hard. But with a full item advantage over the enemy AD, AXIZ is going to have his work cut out for him. I will never call anything over until it's over, but V3, a commanding position as AXIZ is going to pick himself up the second turret here, possibly. A great split pusher is the Camille. So that option is available, but not even going to be able to knock that turret down as Archer shows up in time. The rest of AXIZ Gaming are pushing up here, possibly looking to section off any members that are still under turret. It looks like Archer going to get kicked out here, but Hoglet going to have to complete that one. Is going to go down in the end. Actually, beautifully done, taking down the turret, but the Void Rush will finish him off. Boogie's alone on the top side of that fight, while Reyna is also finding himself in a bad spot there. Paz is just doing his best. This is the point where Paz is typing, why fight? Don't fight. I'm splitting. We'll be able to trade a turret, but V3 will lose 3. As AXIZ actually played that top lane fight very well. V3 Esports possibly greeding out a bit, trying to hold on to that outer turret. Ends up getting punished for it. And maybe that's the fight that AXIZ are looking for. A little bit of wind back in your sails, but having 3 kills going over to Union is a great look for this game, as now you have a split push threat that can possibly keep in match with Paz. Same point in the build path. They have the opportunity to keep Union against Paz, although after Paz had so much time in his solo lanes by himself, he does have a 2-level advantage over Union, so he will have to battle back from that one. Not an impossible feat, though, as it looks like the members of AXIZ are trying to look around at this Drake objective, not coming up for any time soon. But always good to just check on anything. The last thing you want is having to face check into a dragon pit with Soul on the horizon. As V3 Esports wander around here, they can basically walk in the face of AXIZ as they still have about a 6K gold lead over. They're flexing it as hard as they can for now. They'll have about 2 minutes before they can grab that Infernal Soul. And we'll see how AXIZ play this one out. They won a fight, but it was with Paz and Ace not being present, and they managed to finish off all 3. They finished off 3 members there in their absence. So AXIZ, a great look for just finding a fight when you need to. But with this Infernal Drake coming up and in Soul Point on V3's mind, they will have all 5 members in tow. And does AXIZ have the capabilities to take a fight in the face of the entirety of V3 Esports? You won a 3v5 and only lost 1 for it. That's great. That's a good look for this fight. But can you do it again now with the difficulty scaled up? AXIZ Gaming are going to need to answer that question here in just about 1 minute. For now, clearing out these mid lane waves, getting any extra gold onto Hyde that you can will be helpful in this one, as Union going to be splitting towards that bottom side. Looks like he will take the opportunity to reset here as well. 30 seconds up And right now, this is where everything will either come crashing down on AXIZ's head, or they'll keep themselves afloat a little while longer. This Infernal Soul will mean a lot for this game. And it looks like Ace confidently throwing out that W. We'll find 2 to slow, as Reina possibly looking around for an engage here, but forced to back away. Guiding the Ricochet into Ace is the least of their concerns at the moment, as they fetch the mid lane prio, but Drake has already started up here. Axes are here. Hoglet over the wall. He's going to look to just try and get in there as soon as possible. But Ren's Smite is on the option, but it looks like V3 is going to take the fight first. They are onto the top side, and Hoglet is just not here in time. The ultimate from the set used, pulled back by Archer. A 3-man knock-up off of the Kalista ultimate. The bullet time is not here in time for them to find their way back into this fight. A clean ace comes out from the side of V3 Esports as they find a beautiful fight in this game. And that is exactly what V3 has been their claim to fame throughout this series, is not only are they comfortable taking a fight, they are doing it decisively, without hesitation. And in these moments where AXIZ are struggling to find a flank play, V3 say, take the fight, we can worry about the Drake later. Hoglet's not going to be here, take the fight. And when they do, they take it in stunning fashion. AXIZ Gaming 10k gold behind, Soul behind, Baron behind. V3 Esports are showing how they got to 3rd place in this spring split, and they are willing to take this one home. They are in a commanding driver's seat. We'll watch this one more time. Ace goes in and just acts a nuisance, but eyes go to set here. Ultimate in, and then dragged back out, and as AXIZ are retreating, a beautiful ultimate for a 3-man knockup. It comes in at the same time as this shockwave, so ultimately neutralizes it. But V3 Esports are just too strong to try and have any damage really shown on them. As now they can siege onto the base of AXIZ Gaming, Baron and Infernal Soul in their pockets. The 1-3-1 is just going to be too much for AXIZ to deal with. Union may be the strongest member here, but Echo can offer kind of a split pusher the same fashion, but Garairu is not going to be able to stand up to Ace in a solo lane. Not many members of AXIZ are, and none of them really have the lane clear options that are necessary when deterring this Baron threat. AXIZ looking for a play onto pause, just trying to see if they can fish out one of the members that are going to try and knock them down, as Union going for a little bit of damage onto Boogie here. Deterred by Echo as the next wave's coming in the bot lane and top lane as well. Ace clearing this one out. AXIZ will address him first, and Hoglet possibly looking around here to try and find something onto pause, but he will be spotted out and forced to back away from that one. That is going to be an inhib turret falling on the bot side. Pause merely needs to stand and wait as Garairu eating about half HP. Infernal Soul adding big to the poke. A great kick from Hoglet will knock Boogie into the backside here and buy himself a little bit of time. Almost knocking down Garairu, but the Void Rush not going to do enough damage on that one. Finding a kill there is, of course, a great way to stave off this threat from V3 Esports. Without too much damage done, only losing one inhib turret. It's not the worst feeling in the world. They will still have to hold out, as with nothing else really for V3 Esports to take advantage of. They can really just stand around and keep clearing out the waves, sending in these Baron empowered waves. Scouring the jungle on their retreat. Will just keep away some of that extra gold that AXIZ would love to have at this point. And it's going to be Baron wearing off in the end. A little bit of time to breathe for AXIZ Gaming as V3 Esports will clear out their jungle and they can bide their time. Now, in these kind of like, in this little bit of a lull state before the next objective rounds, AXIZ Gaming can kind of hopefully lick their wounds and get a little bit of gold back into their pockets from these waves. Although V3 Esports, they are in a strong enough position that they can take a fight if they so choose. They can force, but it's not exactly in their nature. This is definitely, V3 has shown themselves a team that are comfortable just biding their time through the lull states. No need to get overly aggressive. And that is going to make it that much harder for AXIZ to find their way back into this one. As Boogie pushing himself around here, throwing the vision deep into the side of AXIZ's jungle. They want to control all the way to this Elder Drake when it spawns. Well, Unyoung clears out the top lane wave here. And I like the shift we're seeing here, keeping Ace now towards the spot lane with the exposed inhibitor. He has the ultimate to rewind and get out of harm's way, hopefully, while pushing in that little bit of extra distance towards that inhibitor if he so needs to. While Pause on the top side here has ultimate or has teleport available to get towards that Drake objective. Guraidu doing his best to just clear out the waves. But Elder Drake spawning up at about 40 seconds. This will be the final breaking point if AXIZ Gaming are not able to secure this one. However, when looking across the comp, look at all of those shutdowns on V3 Esports. If AXIZ find a good fight, it is a huge gold spike to get them back into this game. Boogie waiting in the wings, using that Tremor Sense, will spot Hoglet out. Forced to use the E just to get back into safety. Reyna wandering around here. And even on a support set, has just a lot of HP and tankiness to him that he can kind of stand in the front lines undeterred. As Archer wandering up here, looking to just clear away some of these pink wards. AXIZ struggling for ground here, slowly losing a beautiful flash kick from Hoglet, but it does not feel like AXIZ are quite able to capitalize. The shockwave actually getting whiffed after the flash. Guraidu is forced to retreat here. Ultimate used from Echo, but he's back over the wall onto Guraidu. They baited AXIZ forward. They knew they couldn't check anywhere near this Elder Drake, and V3 Esports may have just found themselves game, as Paz will stand and gloat for a moment before teleporting into the base. Right into this mid lane. They'll knock down the mid lane inhibitor. The wave is here, and they can just end the game here. V3 Esports with a clean 3-0 in this series. One rocky game in the middle, but V3 Esports has proven themselves composed. They've proven themselves apt at pulling the trigger, and they've proven themselves as the winning team in this series. AXIZ tried to stick to their guns, tried to just bully them out of the early game, but V3 Esports showed their resolve throughout this series and ended up coming out on top. That is going to be it for match 1, series 1 of the LJL playoffs. I have been your host, Dr. No. Alongside me has been Daniel at Reapermeister. If you'd like to follow him for his content, I will go ahead and link his Twitter in the chat for you. He is a Valorant esports moving into that field, but also very just involved in the broadcasting scene. Very much just somebody you should follow if you're really looking at the Riot's new shooter on the rise, as well as quality League of Legends content coming out there. I have, of course, been your host, Dr. No. I will be doing the English rebroadcast once again next week for match 2 of round 1 in the LJL playoffs. For now, though, I will be signing off. Thank you all very much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.